what can be said about this match then? It's a classic. It's a certified classic, and some people forget about it because this was the only time we saw Shawn Michaels go one on one with Mankind, who was not the fun loving, lovable guy that we know, Mr. Sacco and all that. No, this was the dark, twisted Mankind that pulled his hair a lot, that mutilated himself, was managed by Paul Bear, and had this darker outlook on everything, which is fitting these days since Mankind's so freaking dark. But yeah, this was a classic match between Shawn Michaels and Mankind, and this was the most violent non hot hardcore match I've seen. Like, this was so much leeway given to them in this match. Just like, let's have this angle where Shawn Michaels, the face, goes in and beats the hell out of Mankind with a steel chair, cracks his skull multiple times, and then we gorilla. Then we do a fall onto the table and land violently in our heads. Shawn Michaels choking Mankind with the ropes, which was a very freaking awesome scene. And as I was watching this, there is something about this match. So, this match, how the idea was that how can Michaels cope with the unpredictability of Mankind, and that could be a two-way street there. So this was honestly considered many to be best match the best match of '96 for many. Others say it surpasses the Iron Man match even. Uh, Man, imagine if this was a hardcore match. Like, you saw what they were capable of without the hardcore stipulation. If they allowed hardcore weaponry at the time, that would have been hell. This was during that strange in between interlude period where Dundee was transitioning out of the new generation era to the Attitude Era. So it was sort of that in between era where Shawn Michaels was the champ at the time, where the faces were transitioning more to be aggressive and more violent and very provocative in their approach. Like, Shawn Michaels was the extreme example of provocative of character, since his personality was very much being an asshole to people at that time, at least. And Mankind was, like I said, not the happy-go-lucky fun guy that we got in 1998 to 99, where he was this darker outlook on everything. He was fighting the Undertaker in dark matches, boiler room brawls, uh, buried alive matches, casket matches, some violent matches, and then, of course, we would get the famous Hell in a Cell match 2 years late. About, let's see, in your house, this match was '96, so we would get that 2 years later. So, yeah, this was pre Montreal, so Vince McMahon was on commentary with Mr. Perfect and Jim Ross. So, yeah, and I'm surprised Vince didn't do his "what a maneuver" and whatnot, because he didn't know what the hell he was saying at the time. And yeah, this is brutality at its finest. This is what fans love, but there is the ending that people kind of make that back then was like, okay, it's okay, but if it happened now, it would have pissed everyone off. Where it looks like the ending's decided. Shawn Michaels is gonna go over Mankind with a super kick steel chair shot, which would have been dirty and would have set some things up. But now they had to go ahead and have Vader get involved and cause the disqualification because they couldn't have Mankind lose since he's on the eve to fight The Undertaker, and they couldn't have Shawn Michaels lose because he was the champion, which people now would say, then why book this match at all? Why not just do it after? Oh yeah, that's the conundrum. So yes, even back then WWE had their then WWF had their issues with logic. But looking at it now, I'm looking at this match and I'm not gonna. I know what I'm about to say might piss someone off, but I think this is what the match they were trying to duplicate with the Fiend and Seth Rollins. It's just that they didn't know how they could duplicate it properly. Like, think about it. Like Shawn Michaels has to go to dark places, has to succumb to the dark temptations of violence. Mankind was this guy who thrived on pain and loved every second of it, and was at the time being managed by one of the darkest managers of their time. Oh yeah. So, and that's where we were with Seth Rollins and the Fiend. It felt like they were trying to replicate this match, but in Hell in a Cell, but they kind of forgot this is a Hell in a Cell match, not a normal one-on-one match. So whereas it works with Shawn Michaels and Mankind, it did not work with with the Fiend and Seth Rollins, leading to bastardizing results. Oh god, Hell in a Cell will never recover. I think. Like doesn't it seem like everything now can tie back to that now? It seems like how Link Carr goes ahead and is able to tie every comic, good and bad, all ties back to Countdown and whatnot. Oh man. Could this match be the thing that ties everything going back to Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt at The Fiend and Hell in a Cell? I mean, I mean, yeah, like I said, this match was very, very brutal. Like there were multiple times Sharget targets the knee, and then he even stabs himself with what looked to be a pen. Like he's just trying to thrive on it, trying to get feeling back, and yet he also loves it. You got Shawn Michaels getting choked with the mandible claw, which wasn't a sock; it was two gloves that were tied together in the black taping, and oh man, didn't have much build. This was back in the day when In Your House was a pay per view, but not really. It was like they were sold out at lower cost at the time. Then WWE says, "Screw it, we're gonna copy WCW and just go forward with the whole." Damn it, we'll push every single pay per view to be the same price, if not more, and then screw customers over with bad cards. Because let's be real, In Your House 10 buying games, I mean, none of the matches I'm looking at, and even reviews to this day say that the only match that's really worth watching is Shawn Michaels and Mankind. Like, that's all I hear. And even then, people are annoyed at the fact that this ended in disqualification. So, yeah, passionate brutality at its finest in this day and age. I'm pretty sure for the time it was violent for many. Now it's like with so much has passed, especially back then, because '96 WWE WWF was still in this interlude phase, so to speak, and thus ECW would get chanted ECW, ECW, ECW. And having Mankind, who was from that world of hardcore violence, now spending his days in WWF as this delusional nut job who thrives on pain, like it was kind of inevitable that hardcore would have to get involved. And oh man, I love this match despite the multiple disqualification ending where Vader comes out, Psycho Sid comes out, Undertaker comes out because he has a feud with Mankind going. And like I said, the atmosphere is very different compared to what would happen now. If this was taking place today, it would be vandalized by fans. It would be torn apart, or specifically because of the ending. Because fans don't like that. They want to they either say book the match or don't book the match. You can't have like this was like Shawn Michaels was hot on this at this time, and Mankind was on the rise. So it was like, well, who do we choose? We can't go with Mankind. He's not ready for championship material, and we can't go with Shawn, and we can't give it to Shawn Michaels because we want to build Mankind up. So it was like, it's like this is the conundrum, and WWE to this day seems to not get this. If you have this match and you don't know who to decide who to win, and you're just going with the cheap ending, it's gonna end badly. Like back then fans were all for it because wrestling was at a period where it was fighting with WCW a year into it, and now if this happened today, this would have been like WWE in the mud and WWE sucks. And but here's the difference between this match and the Hell in a Cell match. And let me say this honestly: the Hell in a Cell match has a no DQ ruling. This match does. The fact that they said this is worthy of DQ and so is the Hell in a Cell match. Let's go with that logic. So yeah, and plus, this is. I'm looking at this match. It's still so damn good, but the ending that drags it down a little bit. Like it's like even Dave Meltzer. I think he gave it a. Let me double check on this. He gave this a 4.75. 4 out of 3/4 star. He was if it had gotten a couple more minutes, I think, and if it had gotten a definitive beginning, middle, and end, and not a DQ ending, it probably would have gotten a 5-star match. I genuinely think it could have gotten a 5-star match. Like people, like I'm looking on Cage Match right now. No one really remembers much of the other matches, and there's not enough total ratings for it. So people remember this match more than all the other matches. In fact, I think everyone forgot about it. Saying that this was a one-match show, not a good event till the main event, and the tag team was just okay, but everything else sucked. So the main event's the show, the main de facto ruling of the show. It's a one-match show. So yeah, I feel like things that if this was taking place today, it would have been thrashed by critics and fans because how they were like, we paid good money to watch a quality show. You couldn't give us that. The main event has to sell. You couldn't give us the definitive ending that we wanted. But this was a different time, so clearly that means it's different. It's just, and like I said, this does feel like this is the match WWE wanted to replicate with the Fiend and Seth Rollins, but they clearly did not know why it worked. So, yeah. Man, this was a fun match. Still, I still love it. I've watched it like 5 times in the last few years just to scientifically look at it, and the last time was recently this week where I wanted to scientifically look at it and see how it went, and still holds up. It still holds up despite that ending. So yeah. But everyone, like, people will not remember the match. They will remember the ending kind of vibe here. So, but, like, when you look back on it decades later, I'm pretty sure people would change their tune with this match. I like it's been so many years. But, like, back then it was praised by people. Nowadays it probably would have been thrashed. Things are so different now, isn't it? So, this was Neo Reality, the WrestleVerse, presenting Shawn Michaels versus Mankind at In Your House 10 Mind Games. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other content in the description below. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace and take care.